Welcome to the Keeping It Real podcast with Rob J. Today, we're talking all about motivation, how motivation without a plan is simply just a wish. And I know you've probably felt that spark of motivation before, whether it would be after you heard an amazing speech, how about a new idea, or even a moment of just inspiration. But here's the truth about motivation: without a plan, it simply fizzles out and it becomes nothing more than just a wish. So today, we're going to talk all about how to turning your motivation into momentum. And we're going to do that by showing stats, telling stories, and I even have a few local entrepreneur and business owners that are going to come on and share their story as well. Let's start with the facts. Did you know that studies show that 8% of people who set goals only achieve them? Only 8% of those people. That means that 92% of us fall short, not because we're not motivated, but because we didn't have a plan. But here's another one. People who write down their goals are 42% more likely to achieve them. Why, you're asking? Because motivation is a feeling, and writing it down turns into something obtainable, an action, something tangible. But I like to think of it this way: motivation is like gas in your gas tank. You can fill that bad boy up to overflowing. But the plan is kind of like, let's say, a map, or nowadays maybe a GPS, right? Because I'm sure half of you guys don't even know how to read a map. But the plan is the GPS. So, motivation equal gas, fill up your tank. You can have all the motivation you want in the world. But if you don't have a map, GPS, what we're calling the plan, you'll just be going in circles. You'll be taking a ride, going in circles, and you will not land where you want to. You will not end up to your final destination, at least not in the time frame that you wanted to, simply because you had all the gas in the car you wanted, but you didn't have the map or GPS to get you exactly where you wanted to go. So that's why so many people get excited, and I'm sure you do too. I know I do. Come January 31st. Raise your hand. Nope, don't raise your hand if you're in a car. No, don't do that. January 31st is all about motivation. Why? Because of January 1. January 1 is the day of, what is it called? New Year's what? Resolutions. That's right. January 1, everybody is loaded with motivation. And you'll ask why? Because they want to be new. They want to reinvent themselves. They want to be the best husband, the best child. They want to be the best at everything. They want to be healthy. They want to eat better. They want to have a better physical physique. All these resolutions that people make, that's all motivation. But you and I both know, oh, we know, what happens when February shows up. How many people are still holding on tight to those resolutions that they made on January 1st, or maybe even December 31st? Why do you think people don't turn out, their resolutions don't turn out the way they wanted them to? I'll tell you why. Because they didn't write them down. They didn't build themselves a plan. They didn't give themselves a roadmap, right? That GPS to go from just the motivation, which is the gas in their tank, right? To having a plan, to be able to follow a plan. That's why they fizzle out. And come February and March, those resolutions are out of the door. That's why this topic is so hot, so heavy. A lot of people go through these things, and I knew that I probably couldn't get my point across all by myself. So I made a call to one of my good friends, Aaron Crispen. He's a local entrepreneur, business owner, very successful, super smart guy, and he ended up accepting our invitation to come onto the show. So we're going to take a quick break. When we get back, we're going to bring Aaron on. We're going to let him tell his story a little bit, and we have a few questions to ask Aaron all about motivation. So we'll be back. Stay tuned.
DNS Solutions is a trusted name when it comes to installing a professional security system. As a family-owned and operated company, we offer state-of-the-art security systems to residents and businesses throughout New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and Delaware. Having a professional security system installed in your home or business will give you peace of mind, protect your valuable assets from theft, and protect your employees from unexpected events. Statistically, having a security system in your business assists in effectively managing employees and ultimately improves productivity. We offer comprehensive security systems, including 24-hour monitoring, intrusion detection, fire detection, camera systems, audio, video, networking, home automation, access control, service, and repair. Our systems can be integrated with your smart devices, which can make monitoring your home or business possible from anywhere in the world 24/7. Protecting your business is our business. Let our expert team design custom solutions that can fit your budget to give you the peace of mind you want and deserve. For a complimentary risk assessment, call us at 856-457-5357 or visit www.dnssolutionsnj.com.
Welcome back, everybody. And as I promised, my good friend Aaron Crispen has made it to the studio. Aaron, thanks for coming in.
Glad to be here.
Appreciate it. So, Aaron's going to get right into it. Aaron's going to you're going to tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yep.
Today's topic's all about motivation, and it talks about how motivation without a plan is simply just a wish. And you and I have a lot of conversations, right? And no matter where they start, they usually end up somewhere around motivation or lack thereof, right? So when I thought about this episode topic, you came to mind instantly. So I think it's going to be good. I'm looking forward. You guys get ready for what's coming next with us two. You're never going to know. So Aaron, go ahead and tell the audience a little bit about yourself, and we'll just dive right in.
Yes, my name is Aaron Crispen. I'm from born and raised in South Jersey. I've owned a Sir Speedy printing franchise for 10 years. I've also owned print signs and designs for the last 15, 16 years. I've recently sold that, but I'm still there as an employee. We have a new team now. Things are going well. I've also flipped some houses in my past, owned a little bit of real estate, rental properties. I've done some property management for banks, worked on some foreclosed properties, juggling things for the banks. And a couple of years ago, I started Crispen Seal Coating, and now that's owned and operated by my son, Brent.
Man, talk about motivation. Did I not tell you this is the guy to have on?
No sleep.
No team, no sleep.
That's right.
That's our team. So we
Yep.
just let you in on a little secret. Team no sleep. That's who we are. So, Aaron, thanks so much for letting the listeners know a little bit more about yourself. But I didn't tell you this ahead of time, and I'm gonna put you on the spot, right? There's two questions that I want to ask you
Okay.
about motivation. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Question number one: is motivation enough to be successful?
No.
No.
We all know that guy that started to paint his bedroom and didn't finish it. We all know that guy that built that shed in his backyard and never sided it. We all have that friend that just didn't complete something. Motivation will get you so far, but you got to be a finisher. You got to complete. You got to get it done. You got to follow it through. If you don't follow it through, you're that guy that has the walls half painted, the shed half built, and so on.
So basically, motivation is not enough to be successful,
No.
but motivation is part, right?
Absolutely.
You said
Absolutely.
like motivation is a part,
A part.
but it's not everything.
Correct.
You know, it's funny. I do have friends and people that I know that are exactly who you just explained, right?
Yep.
We always like to say like they start projects and they just never finish them, you know? And the crazy thing is, without finishing one, they'll start another one.
Absolutely.
Right?
Right?
They're like, you know what? My shed don't have siding, but it's okay. I'm gonna blow a hole in my living room wall.
Yep.
And they have all these crazy things.
It's the same people who put the Christmas lights up, but they still got the Easter decorations up.
Yeah, they make them blend.
They make
So
'em
they
blend.
put Christmas
Yeah.
lights around
Yeah.
the Easter bunny
Right.
and dress him up, right? They bring him in as a
Absolutely.
surprise guest. That's cool. So question number two, how do you define success as a business owner yourself?
That's a good question. I would have to say for me, in my business, when you have a customer come to you, especially with a new business, and especially a friend, and they come to you and they say, hey, we're just started this new business. We want you to brand our store. We want you to market our business. That right there, that hits inside deep, and makes me feel special and makes me have that success feeling inside.
Right.
That's what I say is my success. But
Yes,
everyone else is different.
For me, with the pizza shop, right? I was there for 20 years, and it's funny when you said that, it hits home for us,
Right.
Because our relationship and friendship goes all the way back, right? 22 plus 23
Correct.
years ago. I myself, as a young, snotty-nosed kid, 21 years old, maybe 21 years old, when I was starting Pizza Queen in Vineland, I knew nothing about business. And I walked into your shop when it
I
was
remember.
Sir Speedy in
Yep.
Bridgeton, right? You were on Pearl Street in Bridgeton.
Right.
And I didn't know nothing. And Aaron and Susan, his partner, they sat with me and they went line by line with me to help me figure out what out from menu
From
design, right?
scratch.
From scratch.
Yep.
That was so cool, and that was when I was motivated,
Yeah.
right? That was in a stage of me just being motivated, right?
Right.
And
Right.
then we were slowly building the plan. But even with building that plan, what I realized that early on in that whole building of the plan was that it was bigger than me, right? Like it was bigger than me. And I had to bring on somebody like yourself and Susan and a lot of different people, the bankers, to help me complete that plan that
Right.
we're talking about, right? So I was motivated
Right.
out the wazoo. Like there was no way you were slowing me down. But then when it came a point for me to tangibly overcome obstacles that were showing up, right, during the building process, I needed people like you,
Right.
right?
But and people like you who in that point of your life, you're a sponge and you're soaking up everything around you. So that's what made us a great team.
Yeah. And it made a huge difference. So I really appreciate that. And when I was getting back to owning a business with learning, or what do I think what defines business on a pizza shop side for me, I defined me being successful a couple different ways. Like you said, customer service was huge.
Hmm.
Repeat business, seeing smiles on people's faces. I mean, I was there for 20 years. I was blessed to see parents with babies in strollers, and when I left, those same
Right.
babies in strollers were now walking in with
Right.
their own kids, or
Buying your
actually,
pizza as an
actually,
adult.
going away to college and things like that. But also, one of the ways that I was able to define success on my businesses was keeping track. I would keep records, right? I would write down what I did in January of the first year, January of the second, third, fifth, all the way to the 20th. I did monthly,
Hmm.
weekly, daily, things of that nature. Excuse me. And I was able to backtrack and go through those records at times to see where I was. Where was I at 5 years ago? That can help you see if you're doing the right thing or if you need to pivot, move, and shake and do other things, right?
So are you the guy that sits a notepad next to his nightstand at night, and as you think of motivational stuff, you write that
I
down?
do.
Right.
I'm a
Good. Good.
journaler. Like I
Good.
actually do journals, and it's funny because we're going to get into that in a few
Okay.
minutes. But yeah, we're definitely going to do that. So I think the audience is really appreciating the fact that we're just giving them an inside look of who we are, right, as successful business owners, entrepreneurs, and things like that. Because there's a lot of people listening or watching that are full of motivation right now, Aaron. Right, like they're stocked, ready to roll,
Right.
right, and they
Right.
just don't know like what's the next
What's the
step.
next step?
So they heard our next step, but I wanted to not just be just you and I. So I actually emailed these same two questions to other people that I've
Okay.
run into throughout my career, and me just being out in the community, and I had them respond too. So I want to show you. There's going to be two clips, and each clip, the person talking is going to answer both questions. So listen up. They're going to answer the question number one: is motivation enough to be successful? And then question number two: how do you define success as a business owner? Stay tuned. Here we go. Clip number one is coming at you right now.
What's up, everyone? My name's Mike DeRose. I'm the owner of DeRose's Mobile Kitchen, as well as I've had restaurants in the past and construction companies and a few other businesses. But Rob had asked me to come on here and talk a few minutes about motivation and alone, is that enough to be successful? And what does success look like for me? In my opinion, motivation alone is not enough to be successful. You have to have drive, you have to have energy, you have to have a plan, and all else you have to be consistent, especially in the food business. Consistency is key. If you're not consistent, you're not going to be successful because people will keep coming to you because they don't know what they're getting from time and time. So to me, yes, motivation is key, but it's not the only key. It's a part of the puzzle of being successful, and that's just the way that it has to be, because without motivation, you're not going to be able to get anything going, but without parts to the puzzle, you also won't be able to be successful. What does success look like for me? To me, success looks like, in the food business, repeat customers, consistent repeat customers that are happy to come to you, to buy your food, to get your food, to eat your food because they love it. And again, consistent. That's what success looks like for a restaurant owner, a food truck owner, is repeat business and people recommending you and telling people to go see you. A lot of people think that success is having a ton of money and having all kinds of fancy things. That's cool. I get it. But for me, it's more of customer satisfaction and being able to spend time with my family and them being happy and them being proud to have, a dad, because I have 3 daughters and a wife, and so proud to have a dad and a husband that has a successful restaurant business on a food truck. So
All right, Aaron. So as you can see, that was a clip from a friend of mine, Mike DeRose. Right, I got to meet Mike after I had my rental properties, and I happened to need a roof, and I called a roofing company, and this guy actually answered the phone. He was the guy who came out, met me, did the measurement, gave me the quote, and he just worked for the company. There was something about the way he approached even that situation that drew me to him. I knew we were like kinds. So just from that, honestly, that run-in with each other, we were able to exchange cards, and we got to know we're both from like I was from Bridgeton, he was from Hopewell, close, and we became pretty familiar with one another, and we've done a few things together. Super good guy. And as he got into those questions, it resonated, right, with a lot with you and I shared.
Right.
One of the things that stood out to me was he was talking about consistency, right?
Right.
That's huge. And then also repeat customers.
I'm very happy to hear Mike's answer for this is the first time I heard it.
Yeah,
And it's very similar to mine, but we got different businesses.
right.
So we both have the same goals. What I liked about what Mike says, it's not about the money. It doesn't make you successful.
No, for
Right.
sure. Yeah.
So he hit the nail on the head. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was pretty important too. A lot of people, I always say, a lot of people measure the success of a man by the car they drive,
Right.
the house they
Right.
live in. Um, I don't know if that's true. I like to measure the success of the man by the impact they make,
Correct.
right? It's
Correct.
about the impact we make. I know for myself, and I can speak for you too, because I know you pretty well. You're
Yeah.
like a brother to me. There's so much more that I could have personally, and I think you could too,
Mhm.
right, in life. Um, but at the end of the day, is that our joy? Is that our sense of fulfillment?
Right.
No, not for me. It's not that. My I think it's funny, and I wasn't going to bring this up, it's just coming to mind. But when you think about legacy, right, and just the tragedy that happened last week, 6 days ago, I see myself like in that situation, like when you hear his wife talking and his friends and family, and it's like what he lived for was to make a difference, right? He wasn't so much me, all
Right.
about me. He put himself on the line. It was like all about you,
Right.
and it's all about a legacy. And then like I knew of the guy, but I wasn't like a huge follower. I wasn't a huge fan of the
Correct.
person, right?
Right.
If somebody mentioned his name, I may have known him. I may have, I don't know. I remember hearing his name, but it wasn't a household name for me and my
Right.
family, right? And I'm sure it's like that for a lot of people. But now that he's gone, you hear, right? Just like today, I was in the car and I'm listening to I don't even know. I want to say it was like a radio station they were coming on, and there was somebody on talking about the legacy. The word legacy came up, right? And I'm just like, wow, the amount of people and the amount of things he was able to accomplish. What he was here was awesome. But man, think about everything that's going on now with his legacy. There's something huge in that. And I think Mike spoke on that a little bit, was about not about what we have today, but it's like what we leave behind,
Correct.
right?
Yeah.
Something crazy, man. So we appreciate Mike DeRose. He's with DeRose Mobile Kitchen. He has a food truck. His family owned DeRose. I think it was like a little store out in Bridgeton back in the day for all you old heads. And he also owns CMD Renewal. Mike's a super good guy. Mike, thanks so much for taking the opportunity to answer that email with a video and being a part of the Keeping It Real podcast. We really appreciate you. Now, here's clip number 2. It's coming your way right now. Check this clip out.
Good day, everyone. My name is Chris Hollyfield. And they asked me a question. Does motivation alone make you successful? Motivation allows you to become successful in whatever room that's successful to you, not anybody else. So you have to have motivation to be successful some sort of way, because success comes in different categories, different sizes for the individual. So I feel being motivated will allow me to be successful because it will allow me to move forward, to conquer the goals and dreams that I may have, and to help other people. Now, success, what does that look like? Success looks like what you need for yourself, your family, and maybe the people around you. And that comes in different sizes, shapes, and categories. But to really be successful, you have to look back and see how many lives you changed as you became successful, because that's what it's about, changing lives. Now that's success, and that's the way I see it. No matter how big your house is, the kind of car you drive, how many lives did you change? That's my perspective and my outlook on success. I'm Chris Hollyfield, former WWE star, known as the Little Boogeyman. God bless, and I see you when I see you.
All right, Aaron. So that was Chris Hollyfield, a former WWE uh, superstar, right? Known as the Little Boogeyman. Um, I had the privilege of meeting Chris when I was doing school tours, local school
Okay.
tours. He flew in. He's from Palm Bay, Florida, and he flew in and he does a Got Respect tour for local schools. Right? He goes in and talks to the kids, and he talks about making a difference. Right? Be the difference that you want to be seen. Be the difference that the world needs. Right? Because he's what is he? He's under 4 foot tall. And speaking of motivation, when he sent that, one of the things that came to mind for me was being born with dwarfism, right? And so many people take things that they were born with or things that happened to them as a child. They kind of hold on to that throughout their career, their lives, and they use that as a crutch. Why they can't be successful, right? They could have motivation, but it burns their motivation out because they can't. They can't. I can't.
Right.
Even like someone like myself, being adopted, right? There's a lot of people that I've come across and I've spoke to young people and they're like, but you don't know my story. You don't know what it's like not to be raised without your parents, and my grandma raised them. And I'm like, they know me from the Rob J of today. They
Mm-hmm.
don't know me of the Rob J of
Right.
where it all started. And the same thing with Chris. I think there's something to say about motivation when you speak of someone that was born with dwarfism that still to the day is what, I don't know, in his late 40s, I think, and isn't over 4 feet tall. But if you look at Chris's resume, he just said one thing of WWE superstar, Little Boogeyman, but he also was on MTV. He was a TV host of Hell Date, and he had a bunch of different episodes of TV that, like, he's a TV personality. He's done a lot of things, right? And he could have very well had tons of motivation, but if he didn't put that motivation to work, he would have never accomplished some of the things that
Correct.
that he did, that he was able to do through life. So when I think of motivation, Chris, he was just something like he just exudes motivation and the I think I can, I know I can, I will attitude that you need in life to be successful.
I was very impressed by his success story.
Yeah,
Like, I'm taking that. Chris, if you're watching, I'm taking that with me. I'm stealing that.
you feeling that?
Yeah, that's good. That was
Yeah,
good.
it was really good.
Yeah.
And I love another way to think about Chris. It's funny because Chris and I, we were able to meet one another with, like I said, with the school tours, and I became real friendly with Chris. My kids actually call him Uncle Chris, right? But Chris and I had this joke thing, and I'll never forget. One time I went to the airport to pick him up. Sorry, Chris, I gotta say this, but I went to pick him up, and when I got there, I had one of my kids' car seats in the front. So when he got in, I opened the door. I'm like, yo, man, jump in. Come on, let me pick you up and put you in. Yo, he hit me in a shot in the side of my thigh, man. I didn't know if I was going to be able to walk the next day. But no, Chris Hollyfield, the 3-2-1, right? Is that what you call yourself? Chris from the 3-2-1 in Palm Bay, Florida. Thank you, brother. I love you with everything in me. Thank you for just taking the time out of your schedule. Chris right now is pretty much retired, but he does a mentorship with special needs down in Palm Bay, Florida,
Okay.
and it's an amazing organization. And he also travels the world and still does his Got Respect tour all over the world with local schools. So if you'd like to have Chris and the Got Respect tour at your school or your function, feel free to send the podcast a message. We will do our best to get you hooked up with our buddy Chris Hollyfield. But you know what they say, right? All these things are good. They heard from me, they heard from you, from Mike DeRose, successful business owner, and also Chris Hollyfield, aka Little Boogeyman, right? They heard all these things about motivation. But I think there's something to be said when you back that up with evidence, right? With evidence, you give them facts, right? So I looked up a few things and I found that this was pretty interesting to me. It says in workplaces, motivated and engaged employees, they work better.
Absolutely.
Right? You think that's true.
Yep.
But listen, go a step further. I'm actually going to tell you what the statistics are. It says motivated and engaged employees perform 20% better. Can you attest to that through your business?
I can, for sure.
You can.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
what are some of the things maybe that you've done with your employees to keep them motivated and engaged?
I would love to do it more. Just small things like treating them to ice cream,
Right.
lunch.
Giving them an attaboy.
Attaboy's great.
Attaboy is good.
Yeah,
It goes a
yeah,
long
yeah.
way.
Attaboy.
Attaboy.
I'm guilty of not doing enough. I got a great team at the shop, but I'm guilty of I do get busy. We all get busy,
Yep.
and we don't work. I'm guilty of not giving my crew the credit they deserve.
Right. I know when I was at the shop and had something like 15, 18 employees, I always tried to motivate them, even with a conversation. Fridays was the busiest day of the week, but it was also the beginning of our weekend, right? And it
Correct.
was going to get tough. It was going to get hard. Emotions were going to rise. Things were going to get said that none of us would be proud of.
Right.
So a lot of times on Friday mornings, I would get my crew together, and I like to call them the core, right? That's the main group that was always there. And I get them in a group, and I tell them how much I appreciate them, And even though I might not say it, don't know that the extra steps you go don't just know that they do get seen. And I would pray with them, and I would do special things with them. I would give them a day off with pay, you
Hmm.
know. Their birthday, I always went and did like a birthday card and a cake and got them, did something. And I'll tell you what, when as you know what they say, when the stuff hits the fan, right?
Right.
Those guys, because they were motivated and engaged in my business, they always showed up, right? So I think that's a true statement.
Good.
The next one, it says they increase profitability by 21%. Now, my opinion of that, and you can tell me what you feel, is that goes hand in hand when they perform, right? A better performance is your profitability. They work hand in hand. If you get an employee that doesn't feel appreciated and they're coming, they'll basically end up just coming to show up for work for a paycheck, right? They feel as though they get paid just by pulling their car in the parking lot.
Right.
And that directly, I feel like that directly affects your profitability, right? That because if they're not going to go that extra step and making your consumers, your customers, your clients, whatever you may have, feel important, feel treasured, right? Like they're the only one that matters to your company. That can very well directly affect your profitability of your company.
Correct. I think it's easier for you and I, as a small business owner, to, you know, touch base with the employees. Where a larger company, when
Hmm.
the owner or the CEO is sitting behind closed doors and you don't see the owner,
Right. That does make sense.
it's harder. They know when your child's sick, or you had a death in the family, and it hits home to a smaller
Right.
company like
For sure.
ours, right? So that plays, the whole family atmosphere plays, and it's having a smaller business, I think, is a little more helpful to for profitability.
Right.
You know,
Yeah, for sure, for
yeah,
sure. And then one of the other ones they talked about was it, believe it or not, and this was hard for me to believe, but it cuts absenteeism by 41%. So what I thought about when I read this, I was like, cut absenteeism by 41%. Um, I think that is true. I was blessed with an amazing group of people, but I gave my guy, all my guys had a specific job to do. They were a huge part of the business, right? Like they had a huge position and a say basically. You know, they had big roles and they felt important. I feel like they felt more than a dollar bill. You know what I mean? Like it was more than a dollar
Right.
bill to them.
Right.
It was a family business. And I felt like my employees personally felt like when they failed or if they allowed the business to fail, even if it's at a as transaction basis or as a whole in the day, I really feel in my heart that they took that personal as if not only was
They
it
were
a
letting
loss
you
for
down.
me, they
Right.
were letting me down and my
Correct.
company down and the Pizza Queen family down,
I'm gonna say I agree with you 100%.
right?
I feel the same way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so motivated and engaged employees just overall make your company that much better. But this is the kicker, Aaron. This is what blew my mind.
Okay.
There's a number that is associated with how many people or how much of a percent in the whole entire world as employees really truly feel engaged in their company. If you had to guess what percent of all the employees in the world, not just the United States of America, how many employees in the whole entire world do you think when they took their thoughts, right? When they did this statistic, how many people? What do you think the
Clueless.
come on, man. Just throw a number out there from 0 to 100%. How much of a percent do you think that felt like they're truly engaged in their business?
60.
60. You're way off.
Oh,
You're way off.
what do you got?
So it honestly broke my heart when I read this because when I had employees, I felt so strongly about them, right? And I always tried to put their needs above my own actually. And there was times that my family would say that to me. You know, they would feel like, you know, feel like you always put Pizza Queen above our family, you know, and it all went back to me with the productivity of the business. Because at the end of the day, as a business owner, my family is a direct connect of the profitability of the company, right? So it all ties in. But the national worldwide average, I should say, is 15%. only 15%. Now you can do math, right?
Yeah.
What's the percent left that
Eight,
don't feel motivated and engaged?
85. Yeah.
85%.
Right.
Would you feel comfortable with 85 of anything working against you?
No. No.
Do you think there's success coming out of that?
No.
So there's importance of motivation and
Absolutely.
engagement and a
So learning
plan.
lesson here today.
It's a learning
For sure.
lesson
For
plan
sure.
for here. So I went and I found a couple quotes from guys way back in history that were amazing business people before you and I were even born, even thought of. And they gave some amazing quotes. And what blew my mind is these quotes hit home and they didn't even have data like you and I have to go off of, right? Like we just mentioned the data 20, 21%, 40 some percent. Benjamin Franklin once said this: by failing to prepare, you're actually preparing to fail. Tell me that isn't like,
Right. Right.
right? It's mind boggling. And when I thought about that, it says by failing to prepare, you're actually preparing to fail. So by not even having an action, you're actually failing regardless, right? So you can prepare yourself to be successful, or you can put yourself in a position to fail because of the non preparing, right? Because of not preparing.
Correct.
So that was like
Right.
that.
Deep.
He was a super smart
Right.
guy. And then I went on, I found another one, and this guy, I love his name, Zig Ziglar.
Zig Ziglar.
Uncle Ziggy says a goal properly set is halfway reached,
I agree.
right? If
Mhm.
you think about it, a goal properly set, a plan
Right.
that's absolutely done the right way. When you take your motivation that we're talking about and you plan it out, which is what this episode is all about, I think that hits home because there's many a times, and I don't know about yourself, I can speak for myself, but I think you too. When you come up with an idea, that has a lot to do with motive. You're motivated to get that idea done, and then you got to put it on paper. And then you got to slowly begin. How are you going to process
Execute
this?
it.
How are you going to execute it,
Right.
right? But have you ever found that during the process of writing things down and mapping it out, by the time you're done, you feel like you fulfilled that commitment, right? And you go back to start, you're like, number one, check, number two, check, number three, check. That's exactly like I was blown away that this guy said a goal properly set is halfway reached
Right.
because during the process of writing the goals out, you almost gotta do the first couple goals you set in the plan,
Right,
right? Like
right.
it's so that was pretty on point too. These guys are super smart, man. And then the last one was from Jim Rohn, and he reminded us that motivation is what gets you started. And I think that we can go by what Chris Hollyfield said, what Mike DeRose said, and what you and I have been talking about. That motivation is what you get started, but habit and discipline
Hmm.
is what gets you to the finish line.
Right.
About a year ago, I wanted to get healthier. So I started by like, you know what? I went to a nutritionist. That's my motivation.
Right.
I went to a nutritionist. But then the nutritionist gave me information of what I had to do. So that was great that I was motivated and I learned from that. But when I walked out of there, from what I was told, from the minute I walked out of there, I stopped touching gluten because she showed me that I was gluten intolerant.
Right.
And that was making my body just go into a
Right.
mess. And Jim Rohn reminded us that motivation is what gets you started, but habit and discipline is what gets you to the finish line.
Correct.
Do
I
you,
agree.
do
I
you agree?
agree.
You agree with that?
Absolutely.
That helps you out, right? That
Yeah.
has helped you out in the past.
Yep.
And I know it's helped me out too with my health journey. I know, you've seen me last year. It's actually September 28th will be 1 year. I was having an issue with my gut, terrible. Everything I ate, drank, didn't matter, tore me up. A friend of mine told me I should go see a nutritionist, so I did. I was motivated at that point. I'm like, let's go. I went and talked to her. She gave me some information. She did a few things. She tested all my blood and she found that I was gluten intolerant. So when I left there, she gave me a bunch of things to do. That was my motivation, right? And she was like, Rob, I'm here to motivate you. I'm gonna get you all fired up. And when I left there, I was fired up,
But you got to execute it.
right? But then
Right.
I had to come home and build habit. I had to
Right.
build a habit because they say 21 days, it takes 21 days for any habit to take to take foot, right? So
Right.
you have to
plant. Yeah.
plant, right? But for me, it was over 5 weeks. I
Really.
felt like I had like an induction flu. It was the worst thing. But even after I took on that habit, then came discipline. Because even today, I come home, I'm starving. I'm like, man, I just want to eat something real quick before we tape. And I go to the cabinet. Man, my wife and kids got the best of the best, all kind of good food up there. But it's not healthy for me.
Right.
It might be great for them, but it doesn't work for my system. So I have to be disciplined to shut that cabinet with all the good cookies and cakes and things of that nature, and then move over to the cabinet that's mine with all the healthy stuff.
Right.
So what did I do? End up eating an apple and a little bit of peanut butter. So, but that's true. Motivation gets you started, but habit and discipline is what keeps you going. That's pretty important, right?
Absolutely.
So these quotes are good. They're awesome. They're great words. They're actually road signs. I feel like they're like road signs. When we go down the street, it tells you halt, stop, caution, right? All those different things. But they're all pointing us back to some, like, pretty much the importance of planning. I think even those quotes, the statistics that we looked
Right.
at, the things that you've said, the things that I've said, all point back to the importance of planning.
Right.
Would you agree?
Absolutely.
So we're gonna take a short break real fast, Aaron. We're gonna take a drink and all that.
All right.
You guys, when we come back, we're gonna give you some practical ways that you can put all this to work for yourself. We'll be right back. Stay tuned.
DNS Solutions is a trusted name when it comes to installing a professional security system. As a family-owned and operated company, we offer state-of-the-art security systems to residents and businesses throughout New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and Delaware. Having a professional security system installed in your home or business will give you peace of mind, protect your valuable assets from theft, and protect your employees from unexpected events. Statistically, having a security system in your business assists in effectively managing employees and ultimately improves productivity. We offer comprehensive security systems, including 24-hour monitoring, intrusion detection, fire detection, camera systems, audio, video, networking, home automation, access control, service, and repair. Our systems can be integrated with your smart devices, which can make monitoring your home or business possible from anywhere in the world 24/7. Protecting your business is our business. Let our expert team design custom solutions that can fit your budget to give you the peace of mind you want and deserve. For a complimentary risk assessment, call us at 856-457-5357 or visit www.dnssolutionsnj.com.
Welcome back to the Keeping It Real podcast. First of all, I wanted to thank my buddy Aaron Crispen for stopping by the show. It was so incredible that he took time out of his busy schedule to come hang out with us and tell us just a little bit of his thoughts all about motivation. But we're back now, and now it's our turn to talk about ways that it can become practical, right? All the practical ways that you need to turn your motivation into results. Definitely things that actually helped me. These are proven by me and me alone, right? I don't know if everybody else is using them, but it's absolutely what has helped me to become the man I am today. Number one is the fact that you write your thoughts down. You write them down. A lot of times people store them in their head and they keep them in there. And I don't know about you, but my mind wanders all over the place. And there's so many times where things start to, the more it comes in, the more it goes away. There's only so much room in my head and in your head that we can store. So it's so good to write things down. I actually journal. So let me just tell you a little bit about what journaling has done for me. It has absolutely changed the game for me. I pretty much try to end my day every day with journaling. One of the things that I noticed that it helped me the most with was get better sleep because it empties out this noggin, right? So try to write things down. Even when I'm out and about and something comes in my mind, I'll text my wife because I know I can always go back to it, or I'll go into my notes in my phone and I'll just jot it down. So it's super important to write your thoughts down when they come because for some reason, every time a new thought comes in, something has to leave your mind. And sometimes it's probably one of the best thoughts in your head, right? So you don't want to waste that thought. You want to make sure you write it down. Number two is you want to build a plan. Guys, listen, building the plan is probably the hardest part of this whole thing. It's time consuming, and a lot of times you could get lost just in this step. Years ago, that was probably one of my hardest things was trying to get my plan and make it make sense. But one of my mentors actually shared this method with me. It's called the SMART method, and it's helped me. I would love to take credit for it. I think my mentor would love to take credit for it, but I remember him telling me that he didn't come up with it either. So we actually looked it up online, and it's online. So if you are listening in a car or you're not somewhere that you can jot these down, it's okay. Don't worry. At the end of the episode, or probably even as you're listening to me talk, we're going to put up a smart method little something you can look at, and it'll help you as I talk you through what the actual smart method is. It's just like an acronym for SMART, right? SMART. With number one being specific. The S stands for specific. And what that means is be clear. Be clear with your goal. And let me give you a for instance, like with my health, right? A year ago, I was having real bad gut issues and I wanted to get healthier. So, what did I do? I made a specific goal. I'm gonna get healthy. How did I do that? So, I had to go to a nutritionist and spoke to the nutritionist. She said things that I was doing wrong and how I needed to change. So instead of just saying, okay, when I left there, I'm gonna start being healthy. No, I had to be specific and I had to tell myself, okay, Rob, you know what the problem is. Now, how are you going to go about that? What specific goal are you going to make for yourself to become healthier? So I decided to become gluten free. I'm almost coming up on my 1 year anniversary of being gluten free. Not because I have celiac, it's because I have a gluten intolerance. And I'll tell you, after a year, I feel 100% better. I also made goals with walking and exercising, so many things. And I'm definitely way better today than I was a year ago. So it's so important to be specific with your goals. Number two is measurable. You can't measure it if you don't track it. So you have to write it down. I like to think of it this way. If one of your goals is saving money, you could be like, I'm gonna save money. But if you leave it open-ended, How do you know kind of like what you're saving and how you're doing with saving? It says that numbers and timelines let you know you're moving forward. And I think like, so if you become specific, even with this goal, and then you're measurable, you're saying, okay, not only am I going to save money, but I'm going to save $50 a month or $100 a month. And that way, in a few months, you can go back and you can track yourself. So you have to give yourself measurable goals. The next thing is achievable. And achievable is a goal that it should stretch you, but not be, it should be realistic, not something so far fetched that it's not obtainable. So you want to make sure your goals are achievable. Who wouldn't want to be a millionaire? This guy does, right? I think everybody wants to be a millionaire eventually sometime in their life, but is an achievable goal being a millionaire in 30 days? No, it's not that. Can you be a millionaire in 5 years, 1 year, 10 years? Of course you can. So you want to make achievable goals for yourself. The next thing is relevant. It says ask yourself, does your goal line up with what you want out of life? For instance, if you want to be a business owner, shouldn't your relevant goal to get help building a business plan or finding out like what's the first step you should do? If you're going into, let's say you want to own a pizzeria, a relevant goal would be the business plan and getting your finances in order, more so than learning how to make a pizza or making sure you have flour at your shop and things like that. You got to make sure your goals are in order, and the very first, like the most important ones are first, right? You want to make sure you have a relevant goal for where you're at that time. And last but not least, T for time bound. And it says with that time bound, you need a deadline, because if you don't make a deadline, then you're pretty much just floating the idea. And I don't know about you if you feel the same way as I do, but I know when I don't set myself up with like an actual deadline, sometimes life just gets busy. Or how about this, even a step further? How about we just get lazy and we don't have a deadline set? So we're like, okay, we'll get there. But I will tell you, that was one of the greatest things that ever happened to me is when I learned how to put time with my goals. Even with this podcast, I've been thinking about this podcast for years and I never set this podcast up with a SMART goal. Never did it, the method. And it kind of would just stayed a thought, a written down thought that was journaled, but never moved forward. When I was able to create a little bit more time in my life that I could accomplish something like this in a podcast, I started using the SMART method. And one of the things that helped me the most get this thing launched out was time, was absolutely time, because it says deadlines create urgency and urgency creates action. So with this podcast, I knew I had to build this studio, of course. After the studio, we had to buy all the equipment, and then we wanted to launch this bad boy. Of course, I don't know if you guys know it or not, but I lost one of my closest friends, my brother, Billy D. Williams. Actually, he passed away on the Saturday morning of the Saturday we were supposed to start taping. So we weren't able to do it. So it pushed me back. 1 week later, my cousin died in a motorcycle accident. So the deadline absolutely got pushed back. But even then, I said, okay, I got to get myself together. I want to make sure I'm the best version of myself to continue down this road of this podcast. So, but I gave myself another date to tape and I put an actual date to it. I didn't say, oh, I'm going to tape this in a few weeks. No, I gave myself a number date and we came down to the studio and we taped episode 1, the introduction of the Keeping It Real podcast, on that date. So it's very important that you attach time to it. So that's step 2. Number 1 was writing them down. Step 2 was the SMART method. Step 3 is accountability. Accountability. And I'll tell you, accountability is so freaking important. When I tell you it's important, it's important. Just like with the SMART method, and we talked about the time bound with the deadline, we get lazy. We need an accountability partner just to make sure that they keep in touch with us. They make sure we're staying on task. They keep our motivation flowing, because you know what they say, man, when you just let motivation hang out, it fades very, very fast. So accountability partners are so important. It could be your spouse, your friend, your child even. My youngest, Dallas, he's 11 years old, going to be 12. He's my accountability partner for a lot of things. You know what? He's my accountability partner for me being the best version of myself. He holds me accountable when I make mistakes, and not just any mistakes. When I make mistakes that he knows that aren't necessarily like necessary to be made. So he's like, Dad, come on, Dad, don't do that. Stay on task, right? So what an amazing thing that is. So you can have accountability partners in every walk of life. And it's a beautiful thing. So the three things, write them down, write your goals down. Use the SMART method to plan them out, and then find yourself an accountability partner that you can that it can keep you on task, right? They say iron sharpens iron. So listen, we're coming to the close of the Keeping It Real podcast. Motivation without a plan is just a wish. You heard the stats, you heard the stories, and you even heard wisdom from some of the greatest thinkers ever to be in America, right? With Ben Franklin and Zig Ziglar and Jim Rohn. Now it's time for you to take action. If you found value in today's episode, which I pray you did, please, at the end of this show, you'll see all of our contact information. Send me a message. Let me know what you thought of the show and how it's going to help you and how it helped you, I should say. And send us messages. We love to hear from you. We're hoping to actually share some of your stories throughout episodes that we're going to be showing soon. And make sure you share this with all your friends and family. That's most important for us. And also go to our YouTube and subscribe, okay? Thank you guys so much for spending all this time with me, all my guests that I had on today, all the stories that we did. This podcast is just getting started, but we got a lot left to go. So look forward to our next episode. I'm so excited you're here with us. Rob J with the Keeping It Real podcast. We can't wait to see you next time. God bless.